One thing I see with clients is that they're very overwhelmed initially with the processes of what we do, especially in terms of providing information and helping us with what we need. But once they get stuck into it, they find almost all the time that it's actually a lot more straightforward than they think, and it's very approachable. Hi, my name's Richard. I've been at OBP for about 18 months now. I'm on the team with Chris and Liam as partners, and I am the manager on our team. I am responsible for the oversight of our junior staff, as well as sort of ensuring our files go smoothly and everything's sort of under control. I actually find it very rewarding to be able to train people and guide them in the right direction. And a lot of my job is sort of putting out fires as and when they sort of come up. So I first started in Insolvency about 10 years ago now. My first firm, I found a job while I was still at uni studying accounting and finance. Ever since then I've sort of moved around a couple of firms, but I've stuck with Insolvency despite a brief hiatus into the forensic accounting field. Yeah, honestly, I haven't really looked back. It's been a fantastic career. Very happy overall with how it's gone. Yeah, a lot of people will have a sort of perspective of insolvency that's very negative, but actually I think there's a lot of positives around it, especially when you're sort of interacting with people who need help. So a lot of our clients, for example, are directors of businesses that they want to see survive. And they have a couple of options available to them, such as small business restructurings and even voluntary administrations. And to this day, it never gets old seeing a director be very happy with the outcome of our hard work in the form of either a successful SBR or maybe a successful DOCA proposal in a voluntary administration. Even just today, actually, we gave the good news to a director for an SBR we had. He runs a restaurant and he's been calling us basically every day, just nervously waiting for the outcome of the creditors voting on the SBR. And yeah, today we finally got to give him the good news that it had passed, and his response was very nice to see a positive impact on someone's life. So I guess that's where the hard work goes from our side. So it's good to see that happen. Sure. Yeah, so with that particular SBR that we had, his business was struggling for a while, and he actively engaged with us in terms of giving us some sort of context about why he was in that position and sort of what his strategy was going forward, and how we could present his strategy to the creditors of the company to entice them to vote to accept the plan. Part of that was him relaying how it was going to be a viable business going forward. So we actively worked with him to showing it'd be profitable and that creditors should in fact accept the plan, which ultimately they did, which was very nice to see. We're very straightforward and very easygoing over here, and we find that people are very easy to communicate with us, and if they keep the line of communication open, things go much smoother than they otherwise would. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realise just how difficult it actually is to become a liquidator. To even get that licence in the first place requires years and years of experience, various qualifications, and actually, if you ever do sort of come across a liquidator, you should know that they've put in a lot of years and a lot of effort into becoming that role. So I always admire Chris and Liam just for even having that at all. So they're two of the better liquidators I've ever worked for, so it's good to see. Yeah, the culture at OBP is really awesome. I've worked at a few other firms, and this is by far the best culture of any insolvency firm I've worked at. And I think a lot of that is just down to the way Liam and Chris operate things, actually. And they encourage working hard, but they encourage playing even harder. So it's a lot of fun, and I'd encourage anyone to consider OBP as a potential workplace and insolvency as a potential career. I really encourage anyone considering a liquidator or a small business restructuring practitioner or a voluntary administrator to just go ahead and do it. I find that sometimes people just leave it too late, and that just makes things a lot harder than it has to be. I think if you jump on it now, as soon as you start thinking about it, you'll thank yourself later. We're very warm and welcome over here at OBP. We're more than happy to talk to anyone about anything, so please do contact us.